Khaleesi then reflects back of everything that's happened so far and of how he had passed out in front of her when she was looking at this drawing that he made for her, and recalls making her decree before um, the Sandi brings William into this sunroom. Scene 2. The discussion of the mysterious person. Khaleesi stood up, and she was concerned because this mysterious stranger before her had just passed out on her floor in front of her at while kneeling at the throne. Then she told him, "I do not want this person hurt. I do not know where he comes from, and we can't even understand his language. But this I do know. From what he has drawn what I believe to be the sun. Now, I do not know if he's from our world. I do not know if he is here to try to take the throne away from me, nor do I know about these other places. They must be other, I would think, worlds. So I want him to be taken care of, and I want him put in a guest room. He is obviously soaking wet. We need to get his change of clothes. After he has rested, and should he pull through, I want him to be brought into a more comfortable place. He'll probably be hungry. Hopefully, our food will be palatable for him, because we don't know what food he eats. We don't even know where he comes from. So I want him to be taken well care of." The knights then understood and said, "Yes, Your Majesty, we will take care of him." So they picked him up and carried him off into a guest chamber. The handmaiden, with a few other maids, undressed the stranger. Unfortunately, if the stranger was awake, he would probably have been seriously embarrassed, because they stripped him of all his clothes and wrapped him in several blankets and got other clothes for him. So, after several hours, the stranger had then been well rested. Then we go into scene 3. Then, as she was thinking about everything that's happened so far, the Sami finally enters with William. And again, from her viewpoint, she saw how he was tripping over things, and they both seemed to have a little bit of humor of this, but trying not to laugh at him. And once he gets comfortable, she then looked him from head to toe, or at least as far as where he was sitting at the table, as if she was studying him with much delight, because this was a legend and a myth sitting before her. The first thing Daenerys does is try to look friendly, and she's quite delighted looking into the eyes of this strange being, a legendary human, which was merely a slang word that they used in sometimes conversation. And yet, here he is, the myth, the legend, a human from another world. She takes out the paper that he drew on before he passed out, pushes it in front of him, and in somewhat of a stern way, taps on it. The human looks down on it, but seems to have trouble seeing. He looks about and notices something shiny and gold sticking out of a wood box. And he points at it and then to his eyes. "Bring me this wooden box. There must be something in here that he requires, I think." So the knight hands her this wooden box. and she puts it in the center of the table. And he points at these things with gold frames and motions if he can have them. She allows this. He takes them out, puts them on his face. She kind of finds this interesting. What is this thing he's putting on? I don't know. Perhaps it helps him see. I do not know what these things are. Then he looks at the paper and seems a little more relaxed because he can see what he's looking at. Then he points at the third circle from the star or sun emblem and gently flings his hand up into the air and then begins to say something. Earth. Earth. She then tries to say this. Earth. Earth. She kind of thinks about it for a moment, looking downward to her left, and then back at him, and then stands up, going to a planter filled with some kind of dirt, and gently taps her foot into it, and then says again, Earth, with her hands held out like she doesn't quite understand. He holds up both his hands and shakes his head vigorously. No, Earth. No. She then retakes her seat, and with arms crossed on her knees, hunched over looking at him, he points at the circle again, third one from this sun emblem, and again gently flings his hand up into the air. Earth. Star. She kind of thinks. Star. And this is a word she kind of catches on, and with a smile, it starts to understand. He's not from our world. I thought it was just merely not from our kingdoms, but if I'm understanding him correctly, this place he comes from is called Earth, like our dirt, but that would be strange. And yet he points to the ceiling, so it tells me he's not even from our world. Very interesting. This is unusual, says Masandi. She takes the paper from him and brings out something else with a gold chain on it and taps on it. He then looks down at it, picks it up, and says another word. Wallet. Wallet. So then Daenerys gives it a try. Wallet. And he nods his head in agreement. What is a wallet? I don't know. We don't have things like this. He then takes the gold chain and then zips it, and it shows many strange things. And like again, a young teenage Targaryen girl finds things in his wallet very fascinating, to the point that she points at various things, and he shows them to her, but doesn't say what they are, and kind of finds this unusual. Then he re-zips it back up, and she takes it from him. I'm going to keep this. It contains many things. Perhaps when we get better in our language, as this is a first, he can explain this later. She then takes out this thing that she tried to open and sets it before him and taps on it. He, with a smile at her, and she's smiling back with an eyebrow raise. Let's see what he's going to say. Phone. And so she then also tried phone. He hits a button and it pops open, and she kind of sits back a bit. This is quite unusual. And of course now this human, William, not knowing that he's still not on Earth, hits their things and it makes weird beeping sounds. And she looks at him, his Sandu, his eyes are a bit big and not sure what this strange thing is. The knights kind of watch closely because this is something strange. They are not sure if it's something harmful or not. He puts the thing to his ear and shakes his head and then closes it again. She takes this from him because this doesn't seem to be too amusing. I'm going to keep this as well. I don't know what a phone is. He puts it to his ear. Perhaps it's supposed to do something. I don't know. Again, this will have to be something that, as we get better acquainted with this language, we can explain. She then takes out a wooden box, much smaller, that she had placed these strange things in. And he opens a class and opens it. And his eyebrows raised and he kind of finds this amusing. I think he finds this somewhat amusing. We stuck his things in certain wood boxes. Yes, perhaps this is a good way to start, to see his facial reactions. Well, he seems friendly enough, so they watch him as he pulls it out. He looks him over, and he has his bunker key from before the catastrophic event happened, and a key to a house that probably is no longer standing. Keys. So then she tries it. Keys. She thinks, and noticing someone passing by motions them for to come forward, and they do, and they bow before her. Then points what it's on attached to his hip. Keys. He shakes his head. Big keys. And then points at his. Small keys. She kind of rubbing the back of her neck a bit. Kind of seems intrigued. His keys are smaller. They must have small places. So she takes this from him. And then shoves fruit in front of him. He looks at it. Looks around. Left to right. Not sure what to do with this. I wonder what food he eats. I don't know. Perhaps he doesn't trust it because he's not of our world. I hope that it wouldn't be poisonous to him, because while he may look the same on the outside, he may be different on the inside. Perhaps maybe I should try something. And so she plucks a big, large grape from it, and he watches her as she kind of, in a somewhat seductive way, bites into it slowly and starts chewing it. Then she holds it out to him. He kind of looks at the guards because that would be a little close to her hands, and slowly and cautiously reaches forward and takes the fruit from her as if it were like a forbidden fruit that he doesn't want to get in trouble with by taking it from her that she took a bit out of. She would kind of, with a smile, then watches him as if this is the most interesting entertainment she's ever had. He looks about, probably because he's concerned and what happens if he does eat it, but eventually and reluctantly bites into it slowly, and suddenly, much delight, his eyebrows raise and seems to have an expression of satisfaction, and then says, good, and nods his head yes. So she then says the word good. She seems really delighted now because they're making progress. He finds this fruit very good. They both seem to laugh about this. Daenerys is now very delighted because they have now mastered something that would be considered visualization, a process that the human himself had instigated through the words and the things presented to him that came with him. She motions for him to have another, and so he takes a whole one and eats it. And it's as if he now feels as if he's some kind of pet because she's like feeding this to him. But he holds his hand up and shakes his head no more. And she's okay with this. This gets her very intriguing, and she rests her hands under her chin somewhat as if she's studying him. I think I want to keep a track on this one. Do you think it would be inappropriate for me to take him to my chambers? Sandy doesn't say anything. Are you sure we should talk about this now, with the guards present? Well, perhaps you're right. It's not like I'm going to do anything. No, I would imagine not, Deanerys. She then stands up slowly. I just want to keep track of him. There's something about him I like. Perhaps he may come to surprise us. Maybe I might get some surprises. They look at each other with a smile. She motions for William to stand, and he does, first getting to his knees, and then stands up slowly. She holds her left arm out, with her right arm held to him, and like as if she's trying to motion him to follow her. He kind of looks at the guards, and they seem a little bit squinted eyed at him, like they're not sure what to make of this. She then tells the guards, "You do not need to worry. I don't see or sense any harm from this one, but if it makes you feel better, you can stand outside my chambers." They agree to this, and he avoids eye contact with the guards as she then, knowing though he's a little fearful, talks to him in a calm, soothing, gentle voice. "You don't need to worry. I won't harm you." And here I thought I was the one supposed to be afraid. But it's okay. I will take you to a place that is mine and mine alone. You will be under my care. And so, gently taking him by the hand, leads him out of this sunroom, down another place in the palace hallway, goes up a short flight of steps, and into a room that has big pillars, very large, like a living room, but it has a bed in it. And so then comes the part of breaking the language barrier. The scene now shows he is led into, again, a very large bedroom. And she first lets go of his hand and sits at the end of the bed. And with a smile, takes the flat of her right hand and pats the bed. He seems kind of reluctant at first because he's not sure where this is going. And seems very nervous, and she senses this. She then stands up, gently taking him by the hand, with a sweet look on her face, because she knows the sensations he's going through, and for her this is very stimulating. But because she has no intentions of doing what he thinks might happen, although she has thoughts about this, she doesn't act upon those thoughts impulsively. Sitting down beside her, holding his hand, and he kind of looks down, kind of with a much big smile, not sure what to think of this. She then, with her left hand, lifts his chin and turns the head towards her, and removes the glasses, though she doesn't know that that's what these are, from him, and folds these stems that come from him, and puts them on a table beside her. Then takes her left hand and with one finger brushes hair from his face. He seems kind of flushed a bit, and she senses he's got an attraction to her because of the expressions on his face, and she does delight with. This is a good start. She first then wants to get out of the way, his motives, because since he's not from any kingdom, obviously there must be some other reason he would come from another world. She looks towards that jeweled dagger that belongs to her, points at herself, and he shakes his head vigorously. No, no hurt. No hurt you. She kind of agrees on that. And they sit there together, and then she looks at a painting on the wall with her sitting on the throne and Masandi standing beside her in this painting. She holds up her finger up to the ceiling, like she's saying, wait one moment, lets go of his hand and goes up to the painting, taps on the lower left-hand corner, not because she wants him to focus on who's in the painting, but because it's on the throne itself. He shakes his head again vigorously. No throne. No throne. She kind of seems relieved a bit, and then comes back over, picks his hand up and sits down again. And he gently lifts her hand. She watches what he's doing with her hand, not quite trusting yet, and gently caresses her hand. She finds this very stimulating. For when she was passing him the fruit, their fingers touched and they pulled back quickly. Noticed that his fingers were quite smooth, and apparently this sent an electrical charge to him as well. And now he seems to be fascinated. So she allows him to move her hand about freely, and he places his other hand, his right hand, on top of hers, like he's exploring. Her fingers are much longer, and her hand is bigger. Her grooves of her fingers are different than his, as if he hardly has any, but does see lines on them. And she kind of is intrigued by this because his touch is so gentle, long, and soft to the touch. She takes a slight deep breath at this, and she points to the doors that lead to another balcony. And he agrees to go and check this out. So they get up then, and she leads him to this outer balcony of her chamber. She then, as they get to the door, he starts to have a little trouble breathing again, and she pulls him back as he's like somewhat grabbing his chest, and she looks concerned at him and then at his chest, and he tries to take a deep breath. Oh man. And then he says, thin air, with a gesture that something's thin, and past his chest. After doing this a couple times, she decides to check this out, not putting it on his bare chest, but up to his chest, and feels his heart rate. And she kind of enjoys this, but kind of understands that maybe perhaps the air is different for him. And so slowly, she takes him out to the deck and notices that he somewhat has control over it, and points to the sky. Earth, she says, and he looks up and he tries to find the darkest blue star. And the best he can do is find one, though he still believes he's on Earth, but hopefully it'll give her an idea that Earth is something in the sky. And he points to it. Earth. And she looks at it with quite amazement while holding his hand. as if it was the greatest discovery ever. And with a smile, she kind of understands. He comes from a dark blue star in the Valerian night sky. This is intriguing. So she gently then leads him back into her chambers, and again they sit on the bed, and he seems very nervous because while they are trying to establish communication, he feels odd sitting on a foot of the bed of the queen. She then kind of adjusts her position to where her right leg is somewhat on the bed in a cross-legged like fashion while the other is hanging over, and he does the same. And while holding his head, she makes a gesture for him to speak because she wants to learn more of his language. By rubbing from throat to chin with her hand, he kind of gets an idea, and then he points to the hand she holds. Hand, elbow, shoulder, chin, nose, eyes, eyebrows. She kind of then tries it herself. Hand, elbow, shoulders, chin, nose. She finds this very amusing. Then he points at his chest with his hand again. Man, chest. And then she points at her hand, left hand at her chest area. Woman, chest. And he shakes his head no. Points at himself. Man. Then at her. Woman. Chest. Then points at her, and she notices his face is changing color. Breasts. She kind of laughs a little bit at this, and kind of with eyebrows raised, sees where this is going, and she agrees with this. Apparently, this would be how people of his world defines between a man or woman. Women of his world don't call that part a chest; they call them breasts. But she agrees with this. She points at a map, and he notices that it's a very big world, and the map is odd. He's never seen anything like it before, and all the continents are in the wrong area. He shakes his head no, so this confirms that he's not from any kingdom around here. So now he's not only of not any world around here, but not of any kingdom. So with a much a big sigh, she has him say some other things. He holds up his hair that's long and tells her hair, ears, eyebrows. And she says the same thing with her blonde hair, ears, eyebrows. And she's starting to catch on quite a bit now. He doesn't realize that her IQ and intelligence is much higher than his because he doesn't know that he's not on Earth, but in actually another world. She motions for him to speak some more because he's finding this very fascinating. He thinks for a moment and points to his mouth, lips, and she kind of leans forward. He's not sure what to make of this. He's not sure if she's going to kiss him or not. But she calms him with a gentle squeeze of the hand, not to hurt him, and touches his lips. And she knows that it seems to stimulate him a bit. He gently touches her lips. Lips. She likes this. It's the first intriguing touch of friendship. He kind of reaches for her eyebrows. She leans back a bit, but then allows him to touch her eyebrows. Eyebrows. She kind of tilts her head a bit. With a squint and a grin, touches his eyebrows. And then he says, "You blue eyes, me hazel eyes." She understands this, but she doesn't choose not to say anything about this now. Then she kind of resits back in a position from him. She then, kind of looking around, he taps the bed with his left hand. Bed. Pillow. She then understands. He's catching on. And she then holds up her hand, which he kind of finds odd. Maybe he said something wrong. He then points at his knee, ankle, foot, leg. She understands, but doesn't want him to say anything more. And surprises him. You here no want throne, no harm me. Why here? And he shakes his head and says, me, no, not. Why here? She accepts this and then thinks, and it's as if like she has a high IQ because now the language is becoming more fluent. I understand you. I needed you to speak few words. Your language is different. Wow. She seems pleased that he's intrigued by this. We can talk to each other. Yes. I think your language is a bit different than ours, though similar. Who or what are you? Even though she knows the answer to this, she wants to see what he says. He points to himself. Human. She's very delighted in this. You are legend. Really? You've heard of humans before? Long, long ago. They were a myth to us. We've never met one, and you are the first. Are you going to leave soon and go back to this earth? I don't know if I can. I already know you cannot. Because I sense this. Tell me about you. Do you sense what I sense? Well, as human, I have sight, smell, taste, touch, hearing, and thought. She kind of looks at him oddly. That's not enough. She says some additional things that he doesn't understand in Valerian, and the same ones that he mentioned. Perhaps you have more senses than me. What world do you come from? Is this not Earth? She kind of seems confused by this because why would he ask if this is Earth if he pointed to the dark blue star in the very night sky up above? But she shakes her head no. She then slowly, I from this world, this place, this land is Essos. This place where the palace is Marine, my kingdom. And this is my palace. Where we are at is my chambers. Our not sure what to say. Am I permitted to be here? Yes, I permit it. Oh, okay. Um, hmm. Why you change color? You angry? No, certain things um, make me nervous. I guess we call it being, in my world, bashful or shy, or embarrassed. You embarrassed? No, no. Um, maybe a bit shy. Being in your chambers and not of your world, I wouldn't want your nights getting the wrong idea. It's okay, she says with her eyes slightly closed. I'm not gonna move too fast. I don't think you would be ready. The visionary was right about you. You are unique. Visionary? Oh, you'll meet him soon enough. He can see the future. Oh, my world, we call him psychic. A psychic. Like visionary. Oh, okay, I understand. Well, um, what else would you like to know about me? Well, are all humans the same? No. Um, some are different in color and tallness. I see. Then he points at his chest again. I'm William. Me, William. Bruce McEachran. William. We'll better stay on a first name basis. Yes, William. So she then says it. William. Then she points at herself. Daenerys. Daenerys. She nods her head in much excitement because he's speaking her first name. Um, I thought you were Khaleesi. I heard this. She takes the line up. Khaleesi is a title, not a name. But people sometimes call me this. It was because I was once married to another type of people, not as friendly as I am to you, because you would be very unusual. Um, I was married to people we call Dothraki. Dothraki? Yes. Are they dressed like you? No. The women wear dresses they specially make from animal skins, but the men wear no shirt. They wear garment around their lower area to hide their, um, kind of looking left and right with a smile. They're pulling 2 stones. He kind of seems strange about this pull and 2 stones. Well, I don't understand what this is. You know, she kind of looks down at his with a smile, and he kind of looks down at himself. Oh, and he's turning shades of color, and she kind of laughs about this. You find this uncomfortable? Oh, well, never had a queen talk about such things with me, I guess. This usually is something that I would only do with someone that I'm with, that I share my heart and feelings with. I see. Do you have someone in your life now? Mean I being married? Yes, someone you mate with. You find this again a very unusual conversation. I'm sorry, but you speak strangely in our world. This for us is considered normal for us. No, Daenerys. Yes. Um, I don't have anybody to mate with. I'm not with anyone now. In fact, I've been single too long, but I was hoping to find someone before I ended up here. Good. I mean, I'm sorry. She seems kind of very intrigued by this, which means there might be some opportunity. You have royalty in you. Well, my family history comes from a heraldry, like what we would call for men dukes, and women are duchesses. Duchesses. I don't understand. They are one level below that of a prince and princess. Oh, so you do barely qualify. Ah, okay, Daenerys. I'm a little confused myself. I barely qualify for what? Nothing. In time, I'll explain this later. I am very excited to meet you. You are a very unusual man. I would have never thought I'd meet somebody like you. A legend. But this is okay. I do like this. So they kind of sit and for a little spell as she thinks of what else to talk to him about. Then William asks her, Daenerys, may I ask you a question? Yes. Well, you know already I'm this legend in your world, human. Um, what are you? You human too? No, me not human. Well, we kind of consider ourselves like human, but not like you. Um, okay, so, um, Daenerys, what, what would you be considered? She kind of thinks about it and holds her hand above her breast area. I'm Targaryen. Targaryen. Yes, House of Targaryen. Oh, I'm. Well, my house would have, if it still existed. It is not one I claim myself. We consider ourselves like a clan. Clan. Um, Similar to your Dothraki, but we don't wear just garments around to cover. Yes, I know. This is quite stimulating conversation, William. Please continue. Well, we have an island. Um, Been around way before I was born. In a place in my world we called Glen Eden, Scotland. My clan heraldry was second in line to the throne of Scotland, but we dared not mention this when we were in the other larger continent, which is called United Kingdom. Is bad blood, bad history, I guess, between those that would be considered English and Highlanders, Scottish people. Everyone has their own side of things of the past, but the past somehow, for some reason, carried on generation from generation, and it's not something one discusses in my world. In that particular location, there are unusual negative feelings between the two. Of one's called English and Highlanders. So I pretty much keep this to myself. I see. Um, and you have palace. Well, it's a castle, but I'm thinking it's very, very old, and if any of it still stands, knowing that it still stands is as much of a treasure to me as anyone who might be left of the McEachrons, because again, it's not belonging to just one man or two, but of what we call the clan. So, like a group of people, yes. I see. So you would be House of McEachron. Yeah, something like that. I wouldn't call it House of Human. So I was like laughing at this. Well, that's interesting. Well, you see, in my world, there are many humans, but I would be considered human of America, and then we have humans of English and humans of Italians. They're all people from various kingdoms in my world. I see. This is very, very fascinating. I'd love to talk to you more, but it is starting to get late. And although you've only had a little fruit, perhaps there might be other foods you will like here. Yes, well, I lost uh, my bag. I'm hoping it'll eventually show up, or maybe it won't. Bag, um, to carry clothing and other things in. Oh, yes. Well, we'll have to watch to see if it does show up. Okay. So she gets up then, and even though it's something that Masami would do, she gets a cushion that unfolds into much like a long, soft mattress-like pad and lays it down beside her bed. And he watches as she does this, and she brings out blankets. And when she finally finishes, um, she sits down beside William again, and then tells him, yeah, most uh, uh, intriguingly, I have many questions for you. You have no idea how delighted I am to see you here. Well, I'm glad you're happy to see me here, although I'm not sure where here is. We'll reveal things to you little by little. I don't know if you can handle it all at once. You do know why you're here? No. I see. Um, you do look different. Well, I notice your hands are bigger than mine. You have longer fingers. Not that there's anything wrong with it. No, I understand. You're shorter than me too, aren't you? Well, I would imagine. You kind of seem a bit taller than me. um, your skin is different than mine. Well, I guess my skin would be thinner, I think, although I'm not sure certain of this. Yes, you have kind of like pink skin. Not too pink, but perhaps a little bit um, brighter than ours. More like almost white, but not too white. Yes, and you have, um, he seems kind of hesitant. You can speak freely. I permit you of this. I know you're not accustomed to our customs and traditions yet. Well, you have nice smooth skin. You think so? She seems delighted at how he's complimenting her. It's smooth like silk. Um, your skin is a little bit different color than mine as well, I noticed. You like the color of my skin? Yes, well, um, you um, are very beautiful. This is good. Well, thank you. You look beautiful too. Oh, um, did I say something wrong? No, I never had a woman tell me I was beautiful before. Oh, well then how does a woman compliment a man in your world? Well, um, usually I say they're handsome. Oh, okay. Well then, you are handsome. Well, thank you. Um, Daenerys. So, um, do I go back and sleep in this place that had a big bed? Oh, the guest room. Oh, yes, okay. Um, yes, the guest room. No, no, you'll be sleeping here. There, where I laid this for you. And he looks over at it with a blanket on it. Oh, well, then where will you sleep? I will sleep here. You weren't wanting to sleep with me in bed, were you? No, no, I would never suggest us the thing to a queen. She kind of laughs about this. It's okay, William. I perhaps later we can talk about things and see what develops, but I was just curious because you seemed a little bit concerned about where you're going to be sleeping and I'm sleeping. Well, I just didn't want you to give up your room. No, this is a very large room, and this is my bed, and you shall sleep there because I intend to take care of you because you're not like any man of this world. Well, I guess that could be a good thing. It is. You have no idea. All right. So, well, I accept this, and I thank you for um, your permission to sleep by your bed. She kind of finds this funny. Yes, you will sleep by my bed. Okay. Um, I suppose I'd be sleeping in these clothes. Yes, unless of course you would like to get undressed and sleep in something more comfortable. Well, um, I usually have things I wear to bed to sleep in, but without my bag, I don't really have anything to change into. And of course, my uniform, well, I imagine it's still drying. Yes, either was quite soaked. If you like, you can get undressed if it makes you more comfortable. Oh, well, is there a problem? Well, I usually don't strip my clothes off in front of a woman, let alone a queen. Oh, you are very modest. Is your world always like this? Well, some is, and some is not. Um, I'm afraid that, as we would say in my world, some things might come up without having any control over it. But I'm not sure if I should say anything more that might be inappropriate. I understand. I hope you'll forgive me. My handmaiden, when you were taking a bath. Oh, right. I did not mean to look. I mean, I wasn't expecting this. No, it's okay. It was a test to see how receptive you are. And, well, you, I guess, from what I've heard, are very receptive. Yes, he seems better than starting to 3 shades of color again. I do love the way you change color about certain things we discussed. This is very stimulating about you, and it makes me want to ask more questions of you, but I must wait till morning because I know you're tired. You've only had merely a nap, several hours when, well, we had to get you undressed. Yes, about that. uh, who undressed me? Was it you? No. Though I would have probably found it pleasing, it was not me. Oh, well, sorry for asking. No, it's okay. Um, my handmaiden and some trusted servants had to undress you. I see. Um, you're okay with this? Well, it's not something I would have expected. No, you probably would have been turning much color, I would imagine. But you were passed out, like you were sleeping. Yes. Well, I must have been totally exhausted and soaked. Yes, you were. Well then, I guess I'll just sleep in these. Okay, if that's what you wish. Um, I, on the other hand, must get dressed now and get my gown for sleeping in. So she stands up and is about ready to get undressed. Oh, when he kind of dives off on the floor, she kind of laughs about this. I think I should probably lay down so you can at least have privacy. I'm not that modest, William. But if it makes you feel comfortable that you should do this, I don't mind. Well, I've never had anyone undress in front of me either. I just think, given the fact your position and mine, if a guard was to walk in, that probably would not look good. If a guard was to walk in, I would probably chew him out because he's not allowed to come in without my permission, especially if I'm getting dressed. Oh, well, I guess that's good. So he kind of lays down slowly, and she's getting herself dressed, and she finds this all very stimulating and funny that he should act strangely. Before turning in for the night, finally, she gets herself comfortable. You can look now. And so William sits up slowly, peering over through her bed. She kind of has this grin. You see, I'm dressed. Oh, well, I just want to be inappropriate. It's okay. She sits on the bed so that she's close to the edge where he'll be laying, and lays on her bed, propped on one side. How did you get here? I don't know. I was trying to save others of my my people, and there was a catastrophic event. Um, much has happened, and well, I got knocked out of a boat, and while others were being saved, I ordered the others to leave because there was no saving me. I was being pulled in by something like a doorway, a vortex, an opening. Something hit me in the head, and I don't remember anything after that. It wasn't until I woke up and someone with bright blonde hair was looking at over me. She kind of smiles about this. That was me. Oh, I hope I didn't scare you when I was reaching for you. No, at first maybe because I had been told by this visionary that you were due to arrive because he saw you in the future before it becomes now the present. I see. But you are here now, and that's all that matters. I hope to learn of you much. Perhaps we can, when you feel comfortable, we might share many experiences. Well, I would love to share some experience with you. I'm sure you would. You know what I'm talking about. Uh, that's okay. We'll cover this when the time's right. All right. Well, William, you have a good night, and I will see you in the morning. Okay. So he lays down, and though he tries to fight sleeping, because again, he's not sure what to make of this. Is he in England? Is he in another country? No, he doesn't recall the palace looking like this from the pictures he's seen. He finally cannot hold back and succumbs to sleep. And thus she too, looking down upon him with a big smile, recalls something her uncle said about how she always took care of pets that she always found when she was a young teenage Targaryen girl. But this one she did not intend to let go. And with that, finally also falls asleep.